Hey guys, how are we all? I'm in my garage today. It's January 2020. It's not very nice outside, guys. Lashing it down with rain. I was out fishing last week. Went through quite a few hook lengths. So there's nothing else better for me to do than to sit here in my garage and tie some hook lengths up. I'm gonna show you something that I swear by, guys. I grew up as a kid with fishing. Grew up basically on a canal. Commercials were non-existent when I was a kid. And when I grew up on a canal, guys, something that I've had all my life, not this exact one, I've gone through a few of these, is the Matchman hook tire. Swear by it. I know there's another type, it's a red one, it's Drennan, I think, a Drennan hook tire, which has two pins that stick up. But primarily, or predominantly I should say, I think it's this one and the Drennan one, which are the two manual hand tires that people or anglers were familiar with back in the day of when fishing was a non-commercial sport, shall we say. Fast forward a few years, move on with the times, commercial fishing have come about. I bought this is the Maver hair rig tire, very good with eye ducts for tying anything from banded hooks, whether you want a lasso hook or if you want a bait stop hook, or even what they call a bait pin, the pins you push into soft baits. And then there was tools available on the market then, I suppose hook tying machines if you like. There was the Stonfo, there was one that starts with a P, from Sensus, I forget the name of it. You sort of like clamp it to a bench and you can make them up in bulk. And all of a sudden, guys, I think it was a couple of years back, a company came on the market called the Gizmo ZT Pro hook tire, and I was hearing so much about it. And when it first came out, it was to tie spade end hooks, but then apparently they had made a different head for it that would allow you to tie hair rigs and what we just discussed, the banded type hook lengths, your bait stop hook lengths, using spade end hooks. And I thought, nah, this can't be right. It definitely is right. I've used it now for a couple of years, tying spade end hooks for what we use a spade end hook for, which is like hooking soft maggots, I guess, or soft maggots, my god, for hooking maggots or soft sweet corn, you know, softer baits then is the word I should be coming out with. But then with the addition of another tool, did I put it back in the bag? I think I did. The ZT Pro allows you, using this clever tool with the pin on the side here that takes the band or the bayonet pin or your hair stop, whatever, this allows you to make hair rig style hook lengths using spade end hooks. Absolutely fantastic. Genius. Absolutely genius. I've got it set up with my non-hair rig attachment for just my, what I call my I call them my conventional spade ends then, where the line just comes off the spade and it doesn't create any sort of line at the back of the hook. So I'm just going to show you guys how easy this tool is to use. Some people have been like, oh, is it worth the investment? I tie all my hooks myself. You can buy them, and I had to buy some a few weeks back because what I needed I didn't have. I needed some bayonet pin types, the ones that you push into hooks. So I had to buy a pack of them made up. But I actually want to make them with the MIDI Q-curve hooks. I've just stocked up on them the last couple of days and I got the bayonet pins just under the bench. MIDI don't actually make them pre-tied with bayonet pins. They only do them with bands. So for what I want, I can't get them on the market. Only the Guru ones. And much as I love Guru, these hooks work exactly the same. They they've got the same shape. They've got the out-turned beak where it kicks out, and they're a little bit less than the Guru prices. This is primarily my drawer from my off box, where I've got a Frenzy hook board system where the catches have been cut and that fits neatly into the drawer, so I can just slide that in and out of my box. It needs filling. There's a few that's full and there's a lot that's empty, so I need to top this up. It's had a bit of a battering the last few months and I've not been in here tying many hooks with one thing or another. So today, guys, I'm using MIDI KM4 hooks. Very nice hooks, very strong. I've had some fantastic fish on these. I've never had a problem with them, never had them straighten, never had them go blunt. And I'm using MIDI low-vis line for the hook lengths. Fluorocarbon, I've been told it is the same as fluoro. Sorry, this is called fluorocrystal. I've been told it's the same as fluorocarbon. I've set my hook already in the jaw. I don't know if you can see that against my hand there. There is a little, there he is, you can see him there now. The hook is already set in the jaw. All you do is you open this wheel, the jaw opens, I put the hook in, so the bend of the hook is towards me, not so the bend of the hook is that way then. So the bend of the hook is towards me, I put it in, so then my spade kicks off away from me. And then we've got this one then with the pin on, which is where the line goes. So that's our next protocol, guys. I'm going to just put a loop in the end of my line using my infamous loop tire. Clever little gadget. There's a figure of 8 loop, and I like to keep them all the same size. Hence why I use this. I always wetten my knots, guys. Always moisten them. That's there. I'm just going to cut the end to give us a nice, neat, short end. That's done there, guys. Okay, now today I'm doing a mixture of long hook lengths for the feeder, 12 inches. I've been doing, and I'll be doing some 6s later on. That's why I love the adaptability of the ZT Pro, because you can basically tie any hook length. And once you've set the tool up initially, which I done a long time ago, you can get in the same length every time. And for me, guys, I like that, because when I was using my Matchman hook tire before I invested in this, of course you tie the hook in the tool, and I know that would be nice every time. But then I would have to hook or attach the hook to one of the pegs in the hook board, spin the line around the back of the pin, pull it off holding everything up where it is, and then tighten it. And if you moved a millimetre or two, then it wouldn't go on the hook board. That wasn't good enough for me. I needed something that was more accurate. And the ZT Pro is just that, guys. Works like this. This, I don't know what you call it, a spindle, spins both ways, and it's got a locking wheel at the front. If I lock that wheel, obviously right, if you turn it to the right, then it becomes tight. If you spin it to the left, then it's to loosen it. So L, the left, is to loosen, right rhymes with the word tight. That way we'll hopefully, on the top where the pin is, there's a little line on this black rotary spindle. I'm going to put that line exactly where I know it needs to be for me to get this right. Now if I was to tie that straight off there, that will give me my 4-inch hook length. I need to spin this round a few times to make it 12 inches. So when I spin it around here once, it gives me a full 2 inches of a revolution. So that will now give me a 6-inch hook length, which is what I'll be doing later on. Then I spin it again to give me an 8-inch hook length. Then I spin it again, so the pin comes back to the top. That's a 10-inch hook length. And finally, once more, will give me my 12 inches of hook length. Now I'm going to push that back, and this is the ZT Pro, guys. You bring it around the back, pin first, and then I trap it against the hook just like this, and we spin. Now it's attached, the line to the hook, and it's against the spade. My handle is up. Sorry guys, I completely lost my screen on my computer and I was having to put my password in again. That's there now, right? So that's attached to the line, right? Oh, I've not done nothing while you've been away. I just put the password back in. The handle is up. Now I'm going to spin that around. This is a big hook. It's a size 12 KM4 hook. I will show you the line I'm using in a sec. I don't know if I showed you the line. The line I'm using today. Oh yes, we did, because I mentioned about fluorocrystal and fluorocarbon as the MIDI Novas. Once to the top, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, and I like to go 8 because it's a size 12 hook. Get a lot of whippings on it. Then when I bring it back around the next time, what I'm going to do now is push on the bottom pin just towards me, and the pin pushes through. I then trap the line around there. There's a little groove that the line pulls in. When you release that pin, it automatically now traps that line on that pin, which is the same as the gizmo, which is the same as the Matchman hook tyre. Whereas this shorter pin at the back of your Matchman hook tyre is the one that's furthest away, because your hook would go in the jaw. This front pin that I just pushed and then it released is the front one here that would grab it. And of course with this, once we've done that and we've trapped in this one, we then push this down, because this pin is actually shorter than the front pin. And when we push that down, it pulls the line around, but it keeps this one in place. This does almost exactly the same thing. Let me show you. First thing I'm going to do, where I've trapped that line now, I'm just going to cut that a bit shorter, just so it doesn't get in the way when we pull everything. And it's still caught there. You can still see the line, I just shortened it a little bit. And then all I got to do, guys, push this one down. This is on a spring as well, the back pin. That now releases that line, so it creates, can you see that? A loop line? Yeah, you can see that. And now what we do very, very carefully is I put a little bit of saliva just on the hook there, because I believe in moistening all your knots. And what you have to do now, very carefully, and this comes with experience, is spin. This is quite a thick diameter hook length, and this is fine on this one. As you spin this, make sure that wheel is tight. And then I just, with my nail and my thumb, I pull all the whippings tight to the shank. That's how I do it. And I can see that that's tight to the shank. I'm now going to release this one, the one that we just trimmed. I'm going to push that pin up, releases the line. I then take that line and I cut that close to the hook. Little bit closer. And now all I've got to do now is I hold the shank of the hook with my thumb and finger, release my pin, release my wheel. The hook comes out. I re-grip the hook with my left hand like this, and now I'm going to release this wheel just so it becomes loose, and then I just pull that off like this. Don't let it uncoil off, guys. Your line will go like a bird's nest. Spin it off the way you spun it on, just like this, and then what happens, guys, is you have a perfectly tight 12-inch hook. Now the proof in the pudding, guys, is will that now fit between the pegs in my hook box. I'm going to first place the hook in place around its peg, and I've done a few this morning, so if this one don't fit, I'm in trouble. And there it is, guys. Perfectly fits in between the pins and neatly tied. Hook length, thanks to the ZT Pro hook tyre. And I know that's taken us quite a few minutes. I'm looking at the clock in the bottom of the screen. 15 minutes I've been talking to you. Once you do a few of these, you can average an hook length, a minute, 70 seconds. But I'm not in it to rush, guys. I'm in the luxury of my own man cave. Or I should say, my man cave. When my boy is with me, it becomes his playroom. This is his pool table behind me, which I keep covered when it's not in use, just to look after it a bit. If you can see the pucks there, that's because it spins around into a hockey table. Something me and my boy love, which is just out of sight, is that bad boy, just there. We love a game of darts, my boy and I. You know, and then the luxury of your own home, guys. I'd rather do it myself than pay for these hook lengths. I know they're tight to my spec, and if they snap while I'm out fishing and I got that crucial fish on, then I've got nobody to blame but myself. I see too many people blaming manufacturers and companies, and they say, oh, you need to sort out your hook lengths because they're snapping, they're not tying right. Well, I'm sorry, but it's very easy to blame someone else. Do it yourself, take your own responsibility. And then if you're confident in what you do, you know everything will be all legit. I hope that helps somebody out there, guys. The ZT Pro, I've got the original one that came out, the very first version. As I say, once I've tied a load of these up now over the next week or so, I'll be taking this head off and I'll be putting the other head on. And then I'll be doing some banded and some bait pin and some bait stop hair rig style hook lengths, ready for the summer and for the commercial venues where they are needed. Hope I help somebody. Look after yourselves. Take care.